There comes a moment in every life when standing still is no longer an option. A moment when your heart whispers louder than your fears, when your soul demands more than survival, when your spirit refuses to accept defeat as the final chapter. In those moments, we often look for strength outside of ourselves, forgetting that the greatest strength has always lived within. And that strength is awakened by three simple but unbreakable promises. I can, I will, I must. These words are not just phrases, they are declarations of courage. They are the fire that burns when the world tries to dim your light. They are the wings that carry you when your legs feel too weak to move. They are the reminder that no matter how impossible life feels, you are still capable, you are still chosen, and you are still destined to rise. Every challenge you face is an invitation to prove the power of these words. Every setback is an opportunity to remind yourself that I can overcome this, I will move forward, and I must fulfill my purpose. This is the mindset that transforms pain into strength, obstacles into stepping stones, and dreams into realities. Believe in your own possibilities. Belief is the foundation upon which every great story is written. It is the invisible power that gives strength to tired feet and hope to a weary soul. When you whisper, I can to yourself, you are planting a seed in the soil of your heart. That seed may not sprout overnight, but with patience and persistence, it begins to bloom into confidence and courage. Belief is not borrowed from others, it is built within yourself, brick by brick, until it becomes an unshakable wall that protects you from doubt. When the world tells you that you cannot, belief stands tall and says you can. The difference between those who achieve and those who surrender often lies in this single truth. One person allowed the doubt of others to define them, while the other trusted in their inner voice. This is why you must choose belief every single day. Belief is not arrogance, it is recognizing the strength that was already gifted to you the day you were born. There are times when you will feel unworthy, when you will look at your reflection and see only flaws. But belief is the ability to look beyond imperfections and see potential. It is about realizing that you do not have to be perfect to begin, you only have to begin. Each time you tell yourself, I can, you are rewriting the narrative of your life. You are choosing to believe in what is possible rather than being limited by what is visible. Think of a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, yet they rise again because they believe they can. Nobody tells them to quit, and even if they did, they wouldn't listen. That childlike belief is something we lose as we grow older, because we allow failures to convince us we are not enough. But true strength is reclaiming that fearless belief that no fall is final. Belief is not about ignoring reality. It is about creating a new one. It is looking at broken pieces and saying, I can build again. It is facing rejection and whispering, I can try again. It is staring at an obstacle and declaring, I can move forward despite it. This is what turns dreamers into doers. Because the first action always begins with a decision to believe. Every invention, every discovery, every breakthrough in history was first born in someone's belief. The airplane existed in belief before it existed in the sky. Electricity existed in belief before it lit up the world. Greatness always starts with someone daring to say, I can. And if they could, why not you? Why not now? So when you feel weak, when you feel uncertain, remember this truth. Belief is not about waiting for permission. It is about giving yourself the courage to step forward. It is about declaring with conviction, I can, even when your knees are trembling. Because belief is the beginning of everything. And once you believe, the world begins to believe in you too. The power of relentless action belief alone is not enough. A dream without action is like a bird with clipped wings. It can imagine the sky but never touch it. Saying, I will, is about turning your thoughts into movement. It is about promising yourself that you will not just talk about change, you will create it. Action has a voice louder than words. And the world listens not to what you claim, but to what you consistently do. When you take the first step, it may feel small, almost invisible, but even the smallest step is progress. Every journey begins with movement, and every movement matters. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, dreams remain castles built in the air. With it, those castles turn into foundations strong enough to hold your future. Life has a way of testing our willpower. There will be days when your energy is drained, when the burden feels heavier than your strength. But I will is a declaration that no matter how hard the day, you will still move forward. Consistency is not about moving fast. It is about moving without giving up. Each action compounds, each effort multiplies, until one day the result you once thought impossible stands before you. It is easy to wait for the perfect time, but the perfect time never arrives. Waiting for ideal conditions is another form of procrastination. Those who succeed are not those who waited for the right season. They are those who acted even in the storm. They did not wait for the path to clear. They created their own path with their relentless will. Think about fire. A spark alone cannot warm a home, but when fed with fuel, it grows into a flame strong enough to bring light and heat. The same is true of action. One act may feel small, but repeated day after day, it builds into unstoppable momentum. That momentum does not just carry you, it carries others who look to your strength as proof that they too can move forward. The beauty of action is that it silences fear. Fear thrives in hesitation, but the moment you move, fear begins to lose its grip. You cannot think your way out of fear. You must act your way through it. And with each act, fear shrinks while your courage grows. That is the power of saying I will. So let your actions speak louder than your doubts. Let your persistence shout louder than your fears. Let your steps, no matter how shaky, prove that you are still moving. Because when you commit to I will, you transform potential into power and promises into proof. Turning pain into purpose, life does not promise ease. It promises growth. And growth often comes wrapped in pain. I must is born out of this understanding. It is the voice that rises from the ashes of your struggle and declares, this pain will not be wasted. It is a vow that your challenges will not break you, but will instead build you into someone stronger, wiser, and more purposeful. Pain is universal, but what you do with it is personal. Some people allow pain to chain them down, while others use it as fuel to rise higher. The difference lies in the mindset of I must. When you tell yourself I must, you are choosing to see pain not as an enemy, but as a teacher. You are choosing to extract meaning from every wound and transform it into wisdom. Think of the strongest people you admire. Their greatness did not come from comfort, it came from pain. They discovered strength in their scars, courage in their tears, and resilience in their suffering. Their lives became proof that pain can be the birthplace of purpose, and the same possibility exists within you. There are days when pain feels unbearable, when questions fill your mind. Why me? Why this? Why now? But I must gives you a reason to endure. It reminds you that your struggle is not in vain, that your scars are not shameful, that your story is not over. I must is not about escaping pain, but about embracing it as part of the journey that shapes you. When you say I must, you stop seeing pain as an end and start seeing it as a turning point. You begin to ask yourself not why me, but what now? And in that shift, you find strength you never knew existed. That strength becomes the foundation of your purpose, and that purpose becomes the light that guides you forward. Pain gives you empathy. It allows you to connect with others who are struggling. It teaches you to listen deeply, to understand fully, to support genuinely. In this way, your pain does not just transform you, it becomes a source of healing for others. Your survival becomes someone else's hope. So when life tests you with pain, remember that it is also giving you a mission. It is asking you to rise, to endure, to transform. And when you whisper, I must, you are telling yourself that no matter how heavy the burden, your soul is stronger That is the power of turning pain into purpose. Silence the voices of doubt. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not with the world outside, but with the voice inside. Doubt is loud. It tells you that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, that your strength is too small. But the voice of I can, I will, I must is stronger. It is the voice that silences doubt and replaces it with determination. Doubt thrives on repetition. The more you listen to it, the more it grows. But so does courage. The more you speak to yourself with words of faith, the more your heart believes them. When you wake up and whisper, I can, you are training your mind to see possibilities instead of obstacles. When you say, I will, you are convincing yourself to keep moving despite the fear. When you declare, I must, you are removing the option of quitting altogether. You cannot always control the voices around you, but you can control the voice within you. People will project their fears onto you. They will tell you that your dream is unrealistic because they gave up on theirs. But their doubts are not your destiny. Your inner voice is the compass that guides you, and it must speak louder than the noise of the crowd. Think of a storm. The wind howls, the thunder roars, and yet the sailor who trusts his compass continues forward. Your inner belief is that compass. The louder the storm, the stronger your conviction must become. Silence does not mean the storm disappears. It means your determination becomes louder than its roar. There will be moments when silence feels impossible, when your doubts feel like chains around your heart, but chains can be broken by repetition of truth. Each time you declare, I can, I will, I must, you are hammering against those chains until they shatter. Your freedom begins the moment you choose to replace lies with affirmations. Do not underestimate the power of words. Words shape worlds. The words you speak to yourself daily become the reality you live in tomorrow. So speak not as a prisoner of doubt, but as a warrior of faith. Speak not as a victim of fear, but as a victor in the making. Speak not as someone who is unsure, but as someone who already knows the strength within. When the world doubts you, let your voice be louder. When your mind whispers failure, let your heart declare victory. Because once you silence the voice of doubt, there is no limit to what you can achieve. The only chains that ever truly exist are the ones in your own mind, and the key has always been within you. Leave a legacy of strength. Life is not just about surviving, it is about leaving a mark. When you live by I can, I will, I must, you are not just building a future for yourself, you are building a legacy for others. Your resilience becomes a story that inspires. Your courage becomes a lesson that guides. Your journey becomes a light for those who come after you. Every action you take, every challenge you overcome creates ripples that touch lives beyond your own. You may not realize it, but someone is watching you right now. Someone is drawing courage from the way you stand tall despite your struggles. Someone is learning from your strength to fight their own battles. That is the beauty of legacy. You never know how far your story will reach. A legacy of strength is not built in comfort zones. It is carved in the moments you chose to rise when you could have fallen, to fight when you could have surrendered, to love when you could have turned bitter. Those choices become the chapters of a story that will outlive you. They become the gift you leave to the world. The truth is, people may forget your name, but they will never forget how you made them feel. They may forget your face, but they will never forget the strength your journey gave them. That is why you must live intentionally. Every moment is a chance to leave behind a legacy that says, I can, I will, I must. Think about the heroes you admire. They were ordinary people who chose extraordinary courage. They faced pain, rejection, and failure. Yet, they refused to surrender. Their legacies are not written in comfort. They are written in resilience. And you too have the power to write such a legacy with your own life. Leaving a legacy is not about waiting for a grand stage. It is about how you live every single day. It is in the way you treat people, the way you endure hardships, the way you rise from setbacks. Each choice becomes a story, each story becomes a lesson, and each lesson becomes a gift to someone who needs it. So live not just for yourself, but for the ones who will walk the path after you. Live in such a way that long after you are gone, your story still whispers courage into the hearts of those who feel broken. Let your life declare these words: I can, I will, I must, and let that declaration become the legacy that outlives you. In the end, life will always test us with storms that seem endless, with valleys that feel too deep to cross, with nights that appear darker than we can endure. But in every test, there is a choice. A choice to surrender to fear or to rise with faith. A choice to let doubt define us or to let courage refine us. And the words, I can, I will, I must, are the compass that guide us through every uncertain road. They are more than words. They are the breath of resilience, the language of hope, the anthem of unshakable souls. When you whisper, I can, you ignite belief. When you declare, I will, you release action. And when you affirm, I must, you claim responsibility for your destiny. These three truths together form the foundation of every breakthrough, every triumph, every victory. They remind you that no matter how heavy the burden, your spirit is heavier. No matter how strong the storm, your will is stronger. No matter how many times you fall, your rise is inevitable. So let your heart carry this mantra. Let your soul echo these words, and let your journey reflect their power. Because in the end, greatness does not belong to the strongest or the most gifted. It belongs to those who dare to stand tall in the face of struggle and declare to life itself, I can, I will, I must.